I remember the day it all began. It was the first week of Harmattan, when the wind blows like an old woman's sigh and the air carries the scent of dust and dry earth. I was sitting under the mango tree by the village square when the town crier beat his gong and announced that Mama Ozioma had passed. To outsiders, Mama Ozioma might have just been another old woman from Umoku village, but to us, she was the last living daughter of Eze Anukam's lineage, the keepers of the ancient shrine of Ani. Her passing wasn't just a day, it was a shift in something sacred. In our village, we have this belief: every bloodline that holds the custodianship of the land must pass down its role to a direct descendant before the final calabash is broken. And Mama Ozioma had only one grandchild, a girl named Urena. Urena wasn't raised in Omoku. Her mother, Mama Ozioma's only daughter, had left for the city many years ago and cut ties with the village after marrying a man from another tribe. Rumor had it that she wanted to break away from tradition, raise her daughter in a place where no one asked you to offer yams before planting season or dance during the moon festival. So when Mama Ozioma died, many of us thought the legacy would be buried with her. But 3 days after the burial, a dusty Toyota Corolla drove into the village and out stepped a tall, caramel-skinned woman with city braids and sunglasses too big for her face. That was Urena. At first, people watched her with quiet curiosity. She didn't kneel to greet elders properly, and she wore trousers, something no daughter of Ani had ever done in the presence of the shrine. But she came with a purpose. "I want to know where I come from," she said one evening as she stood before the council of elders. Chief Okoro, our oldest elder, cleared his throat and leaned forward on his staff. "Are you ready to carry the weight of your grandmother's calabash, Urena? This is not about your name or blood. It is about sacrifice." She hesitated but nodded. "Yes, I'm ready." We didn't know then that this would awaken something far older than memory, something that had been sleeping deep in the earth beneath Umokro. The elders performed the rite of unveiling 3 nights later. I was there. We gathered under the Ogilisi tree behind the shrine, where the final calabash was kept, sealed with red thread and bound by palm fronds. The air was thick with incense. Even the crickets kept quiet that night. Rena was instructed to wash her feet in the sacred stream, dress in white, and present kola nut to the ancestors. She did all of it, though you could tell it felt foreign to her. When the final calabash was placed before her, she was told to carry it home without speaking to anyone. "Break it," Chief Okoro warned, "and the bond will be lost." But life in Umoku isn't just about rituals. It's about how people see you. Some people didn't believe Urena deserved the inheritance. Chiamaka, a cousin of the late Mama Ozioma, felt insulted. She was raised in the city. Chiamaka hissed one market day. She doesn't even know how to pound yam properly. How can she protect a legacy she doesn't understand? Soon, quiet murmurs turned to loud whispers. And in a village where reputation is everything, Urena found herself isolated. Children mocked her accent. Women refused to sell to her. Even the young men who used to hang around her for her beauty began to avoid her, as if her presence threatened the very soil. But Urena didn't leave. Every morning she walked to the shrine, cleaned the compound, swept the leaves, and poured libation as she had been taught. Even when the palm trees refused to bear fruit that season and the elders began to blame her for offending the ancestors, she stayed. Then came the night of the thunderstorm. I remember it vividly. The sky cracked open like a gourd, lightning slicing the heavens in fury. The winds uprooted trees and tossed rooftops like feathers. The shrine was struck. People ran the next morning to find the compound blackened, the idol of Ani cracked down the middle, and the final calabash missing. Accusations flew like stones in the air. "She sold it," one man yelled. "It's her. She doesn't respect our gods." The council summoned Urena. She stood before them, drenched in rain, eyes red, but voice steady. "I did not touch the calabash. I woke and found it gone." Chief Okoro studied her for a long time, then turned to the other elders. "Let us search her house." And so we did. We turned over every mat, lifted every pot, and searched every clay wall. Nothing, but something strange happened. As we stepped out of our hut, a child, a little mute boy from the next compound, came running, his eyes wide. He tugged at my wrapper and pointed towards the forest path. We followed him. There, in the heart of the forest, under the same ogilizi tree where the calabash had once been revealed, we found it, whole, untouched, surrounded by a ring of white feathers and cowries. Some of the elders fell to their knees. One of them whispered, "The ancestors took it to test her." From that day, everything changed. The rains returned, the palm trees bore fruit again, and the market began to buzz with activity. But Urena changed too. She stopped trying to prove herself to the village. She simply did what needed to be done. People began to soften. The same women who had turned their backs now asked her to bless their yam seedlings. Mothers sent their daughters to her to be taught the old songs. Even Chiamaka, bitter as she was, found herself saying "thank you" one morning when Urena helped her carry her basket. And then, something even more remarkable happened. Urena refused to be named the custodian of the shrine. "I have preserved the calabash," she said at a gathering. "But this role does not belong to me alone. If our heritage is to survive, it must be shared, not guarded like a secret." So she started a learning house near the stream, be named the custodian of the shrine. "I have preserved the calabash," she said at a gathering. "But this role does not belong to me alone. If our heritage is to survive, it must be shared, not guarded like a secret." So she started a learning house near the stream. Children, boys and girls alike were taught the proverbs, the meanings of the totems, the stories behind the rituals. And for the first time in living memory, tradition became something alive, not just something done in fear of the gods, but embraced with understanding. They say the shrine of Ani no longer needs a single keeper, that the spirit of the land now rests in many hearts. As for me, I still sit under the mango tree in the square, watching the sun dip behind the hill of Umokuru. Sometimes I see Urena pass by, her white wrapper trailing in the dust, and I think to myself, maybe the gods were never asleep. They were just waiting for the right hands to stir them awake.